Hey everybody, Chris Pirillo here with my Nexus 10 from Google, made by Samsung, and this was sponsored by go.tagjag.com/online backup. I'm doing a fresh reboot, if only to show you that I'm starting, from scratch as much as I can start from scratch with a review. Really, though, my experience with the Nexus 10, which is why you're probably watching this video. Let me go ahead and unlock it and tell you that we are running the latest version of Android to be pushed down the pike from Google directly to this device, and I'm running no apps in the background, at least at the beginning of this review/experience rundown. So the Nexus 10, let me just say, is a good family tablet. If only because of the multi-user support that Google enabled with the recent Android update. The Nexus 10 selling point is this. Not the Nexus 10 itself, but its screen. The screen resolution on what you see here is the same resolution as what's running on just one of my 30-inch monitors. So what that should tell you is that images and text appear sharp on this screen. That is its selling point. But to complement the quality of that screen, the sharpness of that text and those images and those videos, are the speakers. Now, granted, these are not amazing speakers, but the position of the speakers, if I could use the phrase, speaks volumes. Think about what you're doing when you're watching video. You're looking at the screen, right? Well, where are those speakers directed? At your ears, in the position they happen to be in on the Nexus 10. But that, to me, was just a part of the experience of seeing the screen, hearing the sound. Holding on to it was also, I'm not going to say a pleasure, but it wasn't a displeasure, and I think that's very important to note. I appreciated the extreme rounded corners that they applied with the industrial design of the Nexus 10. Yes, they decided to go with plastic, but that made it relatively lightweight. Plus, it feels soft in the hands. Very, very nice. Comfortable to hold in either landscape mode or in portrait. Granted, I would hold it in landscape mode primarily, especially if I was digesting media, certainly widescreen video. But if I was wanting to do reading, to tell you the truth, looking at web pages in portrait mode was more comfortable this way. Well, as opposed to reading them in landscape mode, which is kind of what we're used to. I had to remind myself constantly that when an app wasn't trying to force itself to use portrait mode, to try portrait mode, if only to hold on to the device. It never felt too top-heavy, and that's a big deal because with a tablet computer like this, it's all about holding on to it. Yes, you could set it into a dock, you could place it on something, but really, I think the primary usage is holding on to it. You've got a camera on the back with the LED flash next to it, and then, of course, a camera on the front. Or wait, is this the front? This is the back. Either camera is suitable for video conferencing. Yes, you could take pictures and do other things with those cameras. I mean, anything you could use a camera for, really. But I just don't see a lot of people using the cameras for anything other than video conferencing, specifically by way of tablets. So yes, the YouTube experience on the Nexus 10 was good, if not better than good. I was able to navigate using the software, certainly, but more importantly, the performance of the video stood up to everything I would have expected it to. Looked good, sounded good, frame rate was good, and that was something that I think really got me to thinking, well, who's really going to be buying this tablet? Who wants this thing? And if you're someone who watches videos, no matter where you watch those videos, if you're someone who reads text, whether it's ebooks or specifically web pages, then the Nexus 10 may be on your radar right now. And really, I would say for reading, it's difficult to beat the sharpness of the text that I see at any zoom level on the Nexus 10. if there was any kind of competition, they're really kind of on par, to tell you the truth. There's a law of diminishing returns. I do not have the world's best eyesight. Suffice it to say, when they talk about having a super high resolution, super sharp screen, that's not just marketing, it is true to life. Now, I usually choose to set my brightness at 100% rather than auto, but I wanted to make sure I had enough battery to get through this video. And the reason why I turn up my brightness usually on the tablet computers, or really even my smartphone computers, is to reduce the amount of eye strain or fatigue that might set in, specifically if you spend a lot of time in front of the screen. Battery life, I thought was good. Certainly, I was able to do everything I needed to do throughout the day. It really depends on what it is you're doing, right? I mean, the more you use it, the more your battery is going to drain. So I did my best to turn off any services I might not have needed or required at the time, like Bluetooth. Of course, I used Wi-Fi pretty much constantly. Kept my battery, though, I would say at a steady clip, able to last throughout the day. And that is really, I think, what most people want and or need out of a tablet computer. So in terms of app optimization, this is where a lot of people really kind of slap Google. You know, there are a few apps that are available that are optimized for tablet experiences on the Android platform. But the workaround to that, because believe me, I found it, take a look at Tabified Market HD. It's an application available in Google Play right now. And this is basically a directory which you can use to browse through apps that are optimized for your tablet screen, including apps you may already know like Netflix or Movies or TED, Sketchbook Pro. Some of these apps, of course, available for alternative platforms as well. In terms of the issues I had with the screen, responsiveness wasn't amazing. There was some amount of lag, which some people have said, well, that's just the way Android is. I thought it could be a bit more responsive. I also am not a fan of the software buttons because inevitably I would swipe them accidentally, the back button, the home button, the task switching button. But I don't believe that is going to be an issue for a lot of users, quite honestly. I think there's a value to having them there to a lot of people, and I don't want to take away from the experience that someone else may have or may be looking for specifically in a tablet. The experience, here I'm just going to load, I don't know what's going to pop up here. I'm showing you my Instagram friends here. This app was optimized for a phone screen, something the size of like a Nexus 4, which I love. As I accidentally swiped the software button. Let me go back into Instagram there. Even though this app was optimized for a phone, it doesn't look horrible on the Nexus 10. It's being forced into a portrait mode, but you can see, I can, do everything I need to do within Instagram, and the images look good on the screen, at least to my eyes. The overarching experience of the Nexus 10, I would say, was fair. In terms of the price you pay, $400 for the starting unit, and then of course you can spend more to get additional storage, which is important to note because you can't easily expand the storage by adding an SD card to the Nexus 10. What you get is what you get, minus any other accessories for storage at least. Not a lot of other network options other than Wi-Fi at this point either. But as a family computer, where you've got multi-user support in the latest version of Android and beyond, I think it's very compelling. If what you do largely is on the web, if you do nothing but digest video, and then of course social networking, which may not be as important to kids. And that's something to keep in mind, when you go to look at getting this tablet, making sure the apps that you want are going to work on the screen, because unfortunately I found that a lot of the apps that I wanted to try just didn't work on the Nexus 10. There was some amount of Android stutter in the Nexus 10 that was prevalent, certainly more so than the stutter that I might have experienced in the Nexus 4. Different type of product, but that just tells me that Google will continue, or should continue, and needs to continue to optimize the software to run in harmony with the hardware. It's on its way. So, for $400 for a tablet computer for your family where your primary usage is browsing the web or digesting media by like video or what have you, I would say the Nexus 10 should factor into your decision process when you go to look to buying a tablet computer for yourself or for your family. I happen to be a fan of Google Plus, despite so many people not liking everything that I say on Google Plus. I think it's a fantastic discovery platform. Yes, I realize Google is using me for my data. It's a social layer for Google services. But if you're looking for what app should I use on a tablet that really kind of highlights its power, Google Plus is a good software experience right now, or at least good enough, certainly for content discovery, depending on what kind of person you are and what you're looking for. Google Plus will continue to get better, but it's a really good app experience on the Nexus, which I would hope it would be because they're both from Google, but you never really know. So yeah, my recommendation is consider it. If you can get a hold of it, do get a hold of it, because you'll be able to feel it in your hands. You'll be able to see something on the screen and go, yeah, that's something I would use. That's something, it's how I would use it. I don't see any issues with how I'm using it. Whether you're using the mapping features on the navigation that's built in, you're looking at it through Google Earth and seeing the graphics performance. Playing casual games works just fine. Even playing graphically intense games play just fine, certainly for a tablet computer. Look at that. That's really hard to beat. It really is, and that's a good experience. And this is certainly more than I was expecting from Google this early in the game. Certainly for their first 10-inch tablet, or something in that line, a larger tablet screen as opposed to a smaller tablet screen. Well, yeah, I guess the Nexus 7 is a smaller tablet screen. I've already done a roundup of the other Nexus devices compared to the 10, so I don't want to dive into that too deeply right now. But suffice it to say, I would say that, if you were thinking about getting it and you're waiting for what I thought, I don't think it should hold you back. If this is something that you really want, I have no problem recommending it to someone who's looking for a really good Android tablet experience, at least as far as today is concerned.